What's up, y'all? My name is Ian Edwards, and welcome to the Soccer Comic Rant. And we're going to talk Euros. How do you feel about England's match versus Slovakia? I thought we played good. I go online, and they still want to hang Southgate, but I'll tell you why I thought we played good. You can see Lee's face. Lee. So we're going to disagree on this. That's hilarious. So you can tell where Lee stands on this. Like England is pretty angry. I listen to Talk Sports Radio live on YouTube, and the first call was like, "Fire Southgate" after uh, around the 16 win to get to the quarterfinals. So there's that. We talk about Spain just on it. They got a left wing and a right wing that's young and undeniable, fearless. I have no idea about the worries of life. Like a kid with braces doing grown men. It's crazy. Uh, and you know what those defenders should do? Bring a math book and hold it up in front of Lemieux to see if he could get past that. It just going out there empty-handed is not helping, fam. Germany getting Denmark. There was some stoppages because of rain and some questionable calls. So we talk about that. We'll talk about Switzerland. Whew, out of game and what they did to Italy. Italy hadn't seen a defeat like that since World War II, and we're going to the Copa America, and we got some big games that are going to start during this podcast. And Mexico's lost to Venezuela. We'll talk about that. My homie, he's a comic. His girlfriend is Venezuelan, and she's happy as shit. So we'll talk to Alex about that, and Jamaica versus who we playing?
You're playing Venezuela.
Venezuela and Ecuador versus Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
Alex, who do you think is going to win between Ecuador versus Mexico?
Ecuador versus Mexico. What's the question? Are you asking me who's better or who do you think is going to win?
Who's better?
Ecuador.
Who's going to win?
Mexico.
How?
It's too much at stake for Mexico not to advance. In other words, there may be some controversial calls, like what I feel like the Germany, like the goal again, like the Denmark goal, maybe that, I don't know if that was completely, it was just slightly offside, but I feel like because he was against Germany, you have to call that. So we might see some stuff like that in Mexico game against Ecuador. It's like, give it to Mexico, you know?
Are you saying that Mexico be cheating? How? Are they paying people off, or are the refs?
I don't know the word
Mexico centric.
I don't know if cheating is the correct word, but like refs are certainly gonna influence the games, you know?
They're influenced to just by.
But I'm not. It's just not like a Mexican thing. It's just like a thing like it's South American thing as well. People have complained a bunch of times about like during the qualifiers, you know, like Argentina, like refs are basically favoring Argentina, Brazil, because it's so much at stake when you're basically like those countries don't qualify for like basically, you know, like to those tournaments or whatever, you know.
I bet you all the refs are Messi fans. You know, it's like, how could you not? You're working in football. How are you not a fan of football? And the best player in football is playing for Argentina. You're on the pitch with him, and you're like.
After the games, you see refs asking Messi for pictures. You know, like every ref wants a picture with Messi, and it's just to me like I get it, but it's like at the same time it is hilarious. You know.
Yeah, it's hilarious. I wonder if a ref has ever asked Messi for a jersey, or I know they've wanted to, but they know if they do, it's over.
No, that's been caught in cameras. There's been like fans recording where refs basically like ask Messi for something or whatever, and Messi just goes and he's like, "Hey, bring this guy." I don't have a jersey, but give him my sweater or give him my pants or whatever, and the ref is just like, "Damn, cool," you know?
For real?
For real, that's out there. Like, I don't know exactly which refs were those, like, but there's been when refs ask Messi for stuff. Like, it's a goat. You know, you're gonna tell your kids, "Hey, I ref a game for Messi. These are the pants that Messi wore for the warm up." You know.
I understand you want to show your kids that, then just show them the game. The game was televised. That's your proof. It's like when somebody goes to a concert and every frame of the 30 stories is the concert. Like, hey man, this concert's on TV. We're watching the award show. Thanks for broadcasting it for us, but CBS is doing a pretty good job. We appreciate it. So the ref has the game. There's no game that Messi's playing that ain't being televised. And they show the ref. You make a bad decision, trust me, you'll be seen on camera. You'll be able to show that to your kids forever. All right, it's interesting. We'll get back more to the Copa, but the big things that are Guam was England versus Slovakia, and we've run into a lot of teams with S's. Serbia, Slovenia, Slovakia. The next one up is Switzerland. Can we beat another team with an S? But before we get to Switzerland, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Lee, what did you think of the game based on the face that you made? I can guess where you go with this.
I just feel like I'm repeating myself from like previous episodes because it was the same shit. I saw that lineup and I was like, oh, he's learned nothing. He's learned absolutely nothing. Like he's like all throughout this tournament, he's changed one position, which is that partner with Rice in the centre midfield. Obviously, he changed from Trent to Gallagher, from Gallagher to Mainu, and every time that's been a good change because I think Mainu, like he's the right choice in that position. He's finally got there, but that isn't the one thing that needed fixing or changing. There was a whole load of stuff that needed fixing or changing, and he just overlooked all of it.
All right, so I know Gareth watches this podcast. So I want you to tell Gareth exactly what you need him to do.
You need him to stop picking that 11 in that system. Just no, like Trippier, left back, out. Get him gone. Like, I don't care who you put there. Try Kane there if you want, seeing as he likes to drop back so deep. Play Kane at left back. I don't care. I don't want to see him there. I don't want to see Kane playing centre forward in this system. He shouldn't be the only centre forward. He needs to play with another centre forward, like when Tony came on and they actually had some combination there, or he needs to be out the team because he's not right. He's not right for it. Foden left wing doesn't work with Trippier anyway, unless you play a left back who's left-footed and going to get round him, which we don't have in this squad unless Luke Shaw manages to go through, I don't know, some sort of stem cell therapy or something in the next week. We ain't going to have a left back for this tournament, which is negligent from Southgate from the very beginning, not putting another left back in there. I saw an advert during the game that had Ben Chilwell in it in an England shirt, and I was like, "That's cold." You know, he was doing adverts and then didn't get put in the team. So, we need an actual left-footed left back. We don't need Trippier in the team. Saka needs a rest. Rest the guy. Just let him come off the bench or something. Like he's apart from that first game, really, where he put that ball in, he's been ineffective. But I can't even tell if Saka.
Okay, yeah, you're right. I agree.
I can't even tell if it's the players though, or if it's just the shitty system that Southgate has them in that's causing the problem, because there's square pegs in round holes. There's players who look tired. There's players who look injured, and he's just persisting with it every single game. I think one of the big things that's a blessing though is that the next game is Saturday. It's like a 6-day break or 5-day break at least, so the players can actually recharge a little bit. But it just amazes me that after 4 games, Well, after the 3 games leading into this 4th game, they've got analysts who look at this stuff and look at these games, and there's stats and there's all sorts of things. And he just puts that same team out and they don't have a single shot on target in 90 minutes, which is wild. Like, it's just the attack has not worked at all this tournament. The attack has not been working other than like a little couple of flashes. Because it was just horrible having to watch the Spain game afterwards and watching them attack with pace and purpose. And even Georgia, like on the counter attack, were attacking
what is
with pace
Spain
and purpose.
doing? That's the question I wanted to ask. I was thinking about it. What is Spain doing with their attack that we're not doing?
They got the right players in the right positions, and they got fullbacks who can get round, because they got the wingers are inverted. So they got Yamal on the right, who's left-footed, and they've got Williams on the left, who's right-footed. But they've got fullbacks who can get round them. People can throw as much shade as they want on Cucurella, but he does the job of an attacking left back. They've got Carvajal on the right. They've got players who, or the wingers will stay out wide, and then those fullbacks will come through inside positions, and but Spain just have a philosophy, and the players understand that system, and they all play in that system regularly, and it just works for them. They got an emphasis to attack quickly in the right areas. They can build up slow, but then turn the pace on. Whereas England just build up slow, and that shit stays slow. It's like watching a glacier move down a mountain. I
think a glacier moves down a mountain faster than the way we build up in the back.
Oh,
yeah, why are we building up so slow in the back? It's
because it's the players. We haven't got players. Like, I watched Germany on Saturday night as well, and they've got players who want to break lines as well. But I think we've got players who are capable of it, but it's like they've been told not to. We get over the halfway line, the ball goes out to Trippier. He could play it forwards. He just turns back, plays it back. And it's just, we're not even playing. It's like we're trying to play a style of football we don't understand. Because when you watch a Pep team and they play backwards, they're playing backwards to try and draw an opposition out, or they're playing sideways to try and move an opposition to one side so they can speed it up and quickly hit them on the switch on the other side. And we're not doing any of that. Like I say, it just stays slow. And every person wants the ball to feet as well. There's no runners in behind.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Everyone wants that ball to feet. So, like in previous games when Watkins came off the bench, that gave us something. Gordon, there's people in there that can do it, and it's just, oh man, it's just painful to watch. Like that moment of magic from Bellingham was a bailout. Like that was, and I don't think that should let Southgate off the hook, because it should have never come to that. It should have never, ever, ever come to that. We shouldn't have gone 90 minutes against Slovakia without a shot on target. It's criminal. If I was in the FA, I'd be firing him still. I don't care. And fuck the players as well for coming out and being like, oh, we proved people wrong. You didn't prove shit. If you'd have, winning that game properly without these massive, massive bits of luck would have been proving people wrong. And this is the sort of game where if England were great in the group stage and were playing great football and winning games, with confident performances in the group stage, this is the sort of game where people would just be like, okay, we weren't at our best, we got a bit lucky, but this is this is just a continuation of 3 terrible group games followed by another terrible game. And it just leads to the feeling that as soon as we play someone with a little bit more ability than the teams we've played, we're done. We're cooked, because
it makes you worry about Switzerland. Yeah,
I'm worried about. So I mean, like I say, we should even be in the next round at this moment. Like, really, it was hugely fortunate.
But we outplayed them. We let's see the stats. I was looking at them. Like, we
outplayed them in what respect though? Like, we could barely break them down.
63%.
We outplayed them by having a little bit more possession, maybe, but
we had 808 passes. They had 472. Let me see about.
All of this means nothing when you're not creating big proper chances.
Yeah. I'm not. I felt like I like the desire that we showed compared to the earlier games in the tournament. This was the first game where we went down and had to fight back, and we didn't stop fighting. So I like that for mental morale. I also like when we scored the first goal. This was the first time we scored the first goal, and we didn't like back off. We kept attacking because normally we score the first goal. We score a goal and we're like, whew, we did it. Y'all want your chance to score now too? Pull up. And we went forward and tried again. We looked slow, passed the ball out the back. They had this wall of like 5 to 6 players, and we couldn't break the lines. And we just kept on playing it safe. Saka refused to take anybody on. So like you were saying, I agree with you. Like he was very effective in the first game and maybe a little bit in another game, but shit, we might as well play him at left back now because he is not being aggressive at all. And then Foden stayed wide this time, but being wide and not being comfortable out there, he didn't take anybody on either. So even though he stuck to his assignment of spreading the pitch, it's like, why are you spreading the pitch if you ain't taking on anybody out there? Like when you watch Spain, like I watched the Spain game after, and I was jealous as you were. I'm like, why am I wishing I was born in Spain? Why am I cursing my parents out and saying, why the fuck did you give birth to me in England? Like, did you watch football before I was born? Couldn't you have just gone over there, had me there? So I would have this nationality and some recent World Cup wins and some Euro wins. So yeah, man, we need to like I don't you watch a lot of Premier League football. You've seen these players, Alex. Like, what do you think is stopping us like this?
You guys basically, I think you guys a great question. You said like, why is Spain doing this and England can't? It's not doing it. I think what I've seen from Spain, like a player that immediately I'm like, wow, like I love this player. Obviously, I'm super biased, but like you see Rodri, I think like most of his passes are kind of like they're effective passes first touch, but he's trying to go forward. You know, he's basically trying to like, okay, let's move the ball. And similar with Germany, if you watch Germany, Musiala, Gundogan, they're trying to break they're trying to break lines. I think like in England, you have Rice who basically they're trying to play safe, and when you have Menu and Rice basically play next to each other, that's what I like Menu today because it was fresh to see him trying to do a pass, and he got for some reason on Twitter on the rankings and stuff, people were saying like, oh, he keeps losing the ball, but in my head I'm like, no, give him the freedom to basically make a mistake. If he's trying to basically break a pass, and if Kane receives all of a sudden. I feel like those are passes that I'm like, do those. Like it's okay. You can do those passes. And I think like if we're trying to play like a Spain, I will basically go with just, hey, Rice, man, you're gonna be on your own today by yourself. Like you see Rodri, people compare you to Rodri. I'm gonna put you by yourself. I'm gonna basically be floating in the middle with Bellingham or with someone else. Gordon on the left, Saka on the right, and all this. I don't know. I just feel like having two CDMs or two midfielders who are not really being like trying to go forward all the time, it's just not it. And that's what I saw today, like an excessive amount of long balls trying to be played. Like you saw Walker trying to basically long balls to Saka or another side Trippier, long balls to Kane or to Foden. It's like that's not like the way I feel like England should be playing. England should be playing fast little touches, trying to be because all these players play that way. Like Foden plays that way like at City, Saka plays that way in Arsenal, Kane plays like that Bayern Munich. So we're trying to
Walker plays at Man City.
We're trying to complicate it a little bit, but
Trippier plays at Newcastle.
I do feel like at the next game, Southgate, it's gonna look like a genius for doing something that he's been forced to. The guy, center back at a yellow card, what's his name? Wihi, how do you pronounce it? Willie. So he's not playing next game, and I think like that's gonna be interesting because I think Southgate might put. I'm thinking he's gonna put Walker as a center back, instead of Joe Gomez. He's gonna play. You know what, Walker? I'm gonna put you as a center back, and he's gonna introduce Trent, Arnold on the right, and that's gonna
Okay.
be something that you're kind of like that you kind of want, like a right back who's basically going forward and attacking and being more, because Walker does that, but he's not really like. I think like I will prefer to have Arnold as a right back, like if you want to create chances than Walker. So I think like it's gonna be. I think Southgate's gonna look like a genius by being forced to play Alexander Arnold as a right back, and all of a sudden that might create more chances.
That's a good idea because I'm worried about Konza. Like, I know he had a good season for Villa, but I don't completely trust him. And then Guehi is the left center midfielder, right? Or is he the right center midfielder? I feel like he's a left center midfielder. And Konza, I think, is a right center midfielder. So we'd have a right center midfielder playing left center midfield. So, but I just trust Walker Stones, and I like the aggressiveness of Trent finally playing in the position that he's supposed to. And then maybe Saka back there, that would be that.
Even if you play Trippier as a left back, you tell Trippier, hey, I don't need you to be attacking as much this time because I want Arnold to basically on the right. So I'd rather just basically you like kind of like play with like a back three kind of, but it's like a back four, but it's somewhat like a back three where like Trippier is mostly focused on staying defensively because Arnold's gonna be attacking on the right. And that's just gonna like I think like that open up a lot of different chances, like a lot of he's gonna. I think like if he does that, he's gonna look like a genius. But he's being forced to do this, because he has no other really choices, other options.
He definitely has to stop this Gordon on the left thing. Not this Gordon on the left thing. That's what he needs to start. He needs to stop this Foden on the left thing. Like, Foden ain't done shit from the left. But let's talk about like some positives in the game. I saw a video of the beer garden when Jude scored, and that's got to be like it just erupted. That must be a crazy feeling to give like millions of people. Like, they went wild, and the type of goal that it was. And then I listened to the press conference, like they interviewed Walker and Rice and Jude. Come to find out, they recently just practiced a long throw because it was surprising to me when I said, "What is Walker going to do a long throw?" I was like, I've never seen England do a long throw. So they practiced that recently. And it was good to see that Guehi, who was kind of responsible for the Slovakia goal, like have an assist on that. And then Jude's finish. Like, I was like watching the games, like, are we going to really go out like this? And I was preparing myself not to be angry and just take it on the chin and move on, watch the Spain game, clear my palate. And then it goes in. And I'm like, nah, that didn't just happen. Not that way. Like on some Pele in victory type shit. And I thought it was just beautiful to see him celebrate with Harry Kane. I thought it was beautiful for England to stay on the front foot and Kane to get the next goal. And for the most part, like dominate the extra time, except for a few times. And I felt like this is what Southgate needs to do. He looks at the subs and see what they bring. Like I saw Eze was the wrong sub to bring on, but when he came on, he did some shit. So, and when Tony came on, he did some shit. And it's like, England, when they do bring in subs, they do something. They have an effect on the game. And even Southgate was like all the subs added and helped create goals. So why don't you bring them on sooner? Bring them on sooner. Like if you go back to all the subs in all the games this tournament, they've done. They picked up the team significantly. So
I do think like I mean, but he put Tony with 2 minutes left, like that. So like yes, I think like Tony should have been put in like 10 minutes before, like, he literally like he came in right for the corner, like putting the corner. So it was just kind of like a Hail Mary situation where like, all
Yeah.
right, go in, and ended up being like a good sub now looking at it. But I think that he should have given like at least 10 minutes. Like if you're really basically trying to win the game, or because you needed to tie, and he just kind of like put him in. All right, 2 minutes left, whatever. I don't want people saying I didn't play Tony. So I don't think that was man, Southgate, man. I don't know, man. For me, it's hard to root for the guy, man.
I mean, it worked though, right? It worked.
No, and all of a sudden, I think like if you look at the bracket, it's like I think England's gonna beat Switzerland.
Let's not disrespect Switzerland like this.
I'm not disrespecting them, but I'm just saying like you're in the you somehow the brackets worked out. All of a sudden, I don't see. I see England on the final. I see him. You basically beat Switzerland, probably beat Netherlands, Romania, or Austria. You're in the final.
I see. Austria ain't a game either. Like, these are teams, and Ralph Ragnick has beef with England. He coached at Man United, and the way the media treated him, they's like, he's not a coach. He's about to show them. He's like, England might have to pay for the sins of the Man United press against Ralph Ragnick. You know what I'm saying? So I'm worried about all that shit. I saw what Switzerland did to Italy. They made them not a factor. Italy couldn't even keep up with them. They just gave up. They're like, you know what? We out of this tournament. Like, these guys wanted more. They pinned us in our area. They creating chances on us. Like, we're supposed to be the Azzurri, and there's in this tournament, and it's been coming for years. There's a lot of teams. Look at Romania. Look at there are teams that aren't traditionally out of the group stage that are out of the group stage. Turkey's out the group stage. Romania's out the group stage. We just played Slovakia.
But we avoided Spain, Germany, France, and Portugal in this side of the bracket. So I think like it's like you avoided 4 big teams. So this is it, man. It's coming home.
You said it's coming home. You're hilarious. Lee, what do you think about that statement?
I don't know. I'm just tired by this England team, man. It's I feel like that there's the potential in the squad to do something in this tournament, but it's just unlocking it, and I'm not sure, based on what I've seen so far, that Southgate is going to be able to do that, because I could have been like, after the first game, when we turned up with the same team in the second game, I was like, okay, maybe he's done something different in training with these guys, or he's, and it just got worse. And then I was like, surely he can't do that again. And then the third game, just one change, like, come on, man. It's just, yeah, just like I said, I feel like the quality in the team is there if it's used properly, and it's not being used properly. But who knows? Like, we're getting through. That's something. We're in the next round, so anything can happen. I'm just not confident it will happen. My like expectation before the tournament was semi-finals. That was like what I thought was a realistic expectation. Not saying we don't have the quality to get to the final, not saying we don't have the quality to win it. But based on, the fact that it's a tough tournament, there's a lot of strong teams, I thought semi-finals. And I still think that's doable, but I mean, in my head, it feels like we went out today.
I know,
just because
all of England is acting like we went out today.
Oh, just that it's so hard to lift myself into any positivity after sitting through that and just watching that.
If I was from Spain or from Germany, I'm like, okay, we won every single game. I won every single game on my group stage, and I have to play Spain, or I have to play Germany, Netherlands, third place, barely made it to play Romania, which Romania is a good team, but it's just, like Netherlands barely made it, and now they're playing Romania, while Spain and Germany have to go head to head. Like, that's what sometimes the luck of the draw, man. You know, so I think like it's just
Spain
one.
and
I know it's
Germany.
one game at a time, but it's just I think like you're in the right bracket to basically go far. You know.
Spain and Germany is a final,
Exactly,
basically.
exactly. And they won every single game, and they're like 9 points each, and they have to play each. Well, I don't know if Germany maybe 7 points. I might be wrong on this one, but you know, like they both won their groups, and they
Right.
have to play each other. While Netherlands, with all due respect to Romania, they're playing Romania, you know, and they barely made it. You know, third place.
Yeah, I feel like Southgate, he should have definitely brought Grealish. I feel like everybody wants Southgate to upgrade the team and bring the players that did really good in the Premier League this year. And there's some players he had to drop. He had to drop Rashford. He can't bring Sterling. But but there's something that those guys are more comfortable in a tournament than some of the guys that had a better season than them. So the least he should have did was bring Grealish, especially if he's not going to use one of those central defenders that's just sitting on the bench like Konza, who played today, so fine, or Dunk. But yeah, we'll see. So Spain versus Georgia. How would you feel? Oh, did we talk about Spain and Georgia? No.
Not properly. I mean, it was just an interesting. Like Spain came out the traps like quick in that game. They were all over them, and then we had that just that sucker punch, quick counter attack from Georgia, which I thought it was Kvaratskhelia that got the goal, but it was off a defender's hip or something. And yeah, I mean, Spain then just carried on doing what they were doing. You know, they didn't let it really knock them too much. They were back in it and then just blew them away, which, you know, I was expecting them to do from the start, which they did. It was just the one little moment. And Georgia kept trying, to be fair to them. Like, you know, they've been a fun addition to this tournament. They've been, you know, the win against Portugal was crazy. They were fighting in all the games they were in to try and make something happen. So yeah, I mean, I'm interested to see where Kvaratskhelia goes from Napoli
Quick question
now,
about it
because
about him. You think like he'll have a lot of offers coming up? Because
I think so.
Napoli said they're not selling him, and
Yeah.
Napoli, those clubs they don't let you go, you know.
Oh yeah, they're hard to get players out of. You know, Osimhen should have left them maybe 2 seasons ago or
Yeah.
1 season ago, but and he's been hard to get out of there. But I think I mean, no European football. No one wants to play horrible defensive football for a season under Conte. That's a waste of his talent. So there's been talk of some Premier League clubs have had a look. I think PSG might be interested as well. So I'd like to see him go somewhere because he's too good to be wasted not playing in Europe and playing for a Conte team that's winning ugly in Serie A. Because I'm sure Conte will get them back into Europe, but it ain't going to be pretty. So yeah, hopefully he moves on. But I mean, Spain, just this is it's remarkable to me how this Spain team is playing at such a high level when they haven't, this isn't a classic Spain team of, Xavi, Iniesta, Busquets, Ramos, Villa. Like I've said it before, that if you look at that team sheet, there's players in there who are good but haven't really been considered great players. There's players with potential who haven't yet hit their peak, like Yamal, Williams, Pedri. Then there's players who've been written off as well, like Morata as well. Players who've never quite made it to world-class level, like Olmo coming off the bench. The only player in that team that I would consider truly, truly world-class in his category is probably Rodri. Because, you look at the rest of that team, like Unai Simon in goal, he's a good keeper, not a world-class keeper. At the back, like Laporte, he went off to Saudi Arabia because he couldn't hack it trying to get in that City team. They've got the guy who scored the own goal. His name escapes me now.
Say it again.
It seems like it's Lee Norman or something like that.
Yeah.
Norman.
Yeah, Lenormand, yeah.
Sociedad.
Yeah, and then they've got Cucurella at left back, and Carvajal. Obviously, I think he's got a good claim to be at a high level. Obviously, considered a high level player because of what he's won with Real Madrid and scoring in finals and stuff. But yeah, I mean that team, it's not a a classic Spain team like the ones we've seen in the past, but they seem very united. They're playing to a philosophy that they all seem to understand, and they've just got that fearlessness in the attack as well with those two young guys on the wings, Williams and Yamal. So it's I mean, I'm so intrigued by this game against Germany because, like you both have said, that's a final quality game. For me, they're the best two teams I've watched in this tournament so far. So really looking forward to them going head to head and seeing who comes out on top there, because like I said, I sat down and watched the Germany game as well, and I'm so excited to watch these two teams play each other.
I think, on behalf of the Soccer Comic Rant podcast, we should all apologize from Spain, because I think all of us, the three of us, mentioned that we saw their forwards and we're like, they're lacking power, and we said we're not really feel like Spain can do something. I by myself apologize to Spain because they're surprised. They surprise me, man. They're nice. They're good. And I think yes, we're up for a great game against Germany.
I definitely am guilty of looking at Morata, and then what's the other guy from Barcelona that's a backup?
Pedri? Huh? Gavi? I don't know. Pedri, Gavi?
No, the other guy.
Ferran Torres?
Ferran Torres, like I've seen him and even looking at Lemieux at Barcelona, he does good, and he's going to be a fantastic player, but he's playing better on this team than he does at Barca. And Inaki, is it Inaki Williams, or that is his brother's name?
That's his brother. Nico is his
Why did the parents name their first names so close? It's Nico and Inaki.
Yeah.
Come on, parents. Come on, y'all. There's a lot of names. There's millions of names out there. Pick two different ones. Anyway, your sons are amazing. But Nico Williams, he does not play for that, and hasn't played for Spain like that. But now I feel like they have some camaraderie. They're the two youngest guys in the team, and they're the leaders, So it's just, and they're just having fun, man. That's what I want for England, for the players to just have some fun. These kids is just this is not work for them. This is we get to do our hobby now. Let's go. And I wish, it was disappointing to see Saka not just be more aggressive today, and Foden being incapable because he's out of position. So, and I feel like Gordon has that type of gusto. So we just definitely need to put him out there on the left. But I underestimated. And speaking of underestimating, I'm looking at their stats. These dudes, Spain had 35 shots, 13 on target. They won 4-1. And defensively, they were good too, because Georgia only had 4 shots, 0 on target. So the only goal they scored was an own goal. But everybody was just amazing, and Nico Williams was amazing, and that assist from Yamal was fucking impressive. What about Spain? Germany, Denmark.
I mean, some controversy in the decision making from the officials in this game. I kind of feel like the two disallowed goals just evened each other out, because I thought the Germany one wasn't really a foul. I feel like people have been putting blocks. People have been putting blocks in on corners for years.
Yeah.
And that's been fine. Maybe I watched too much basketball, because that was just setting a little screen.
Yeah.
that goal was exactly because it happened to Kimmich, and Kimmich was complaining, and basically I'm like, brother, you did exactly the same thing against Madrid. That's that goal that Madrid got disallowed. It was the same thing. You got basically hit on by someone, and the goal got disallowed, and now you're basically you're only, I don't know. To me, it was like a mind trick or something. I just saw this goal like basically against you, and you were all acting upset, and now you're doing the same thing.
So you saw that goal get scored on.
So Madrid scored a goal, and basically he was all like, oh, I got hit, and basically it's like, okay, no goal. And today, basically, like he's like, oh, wow, what happened? No, like, bro, that's the same thing you did last time. Like you like same play.
Go ahead.
It's fine for me. Like I think blocks are fine on corners, as long as you don't like clothesline someone, or properly. You know, I think there should be like a limit to the force you can use. But he just sort of put himself in the way. So I think that one was fine. And then, you know, I thought the one for the offside for the Denmark goal again was a little bit harsh because it's, you know, it's a boot. It's like a big toe that was offside in that one. So yeah, I mean, the fact that those two got chalked off, I thought, you know, okay, tit for tat, that's even things up. But then the penalty award, I mean, I think, you know, there's the whole thing about is the arm in an unnatural position, blah, blah, blah. But if you're running and you're trying to block something, you can't keep your hands fully by your side. You know, the natural movement of the arms, they will come off a side. And I think there needs to be some sort of rule in place about the distance the ball is struck from as to whether it's a penalty or not. Because if that ball struck from, you know, 3 or 4 yards further back and the arm's there, then like, okay, that's, you know, you can make a claim there. But when it's struck from so close, I think even if the arm is out, unless the arm's like right out here, like if it's just a little bit out and it hits the hand, let it go, because that's not, you know, there's nothing a player can really do there. Like I say, if you're stretching and running, trying to make it to block across, you can't get your arms down perfectly by your side like a penguin. You know, it's a little bit stupid. So I think, yeah, if a player hits it from close range and it just glances off there, you know, stick the stupid snicker meter thing away. We don't need to see that the ball changed movement.
That technology is crazy that they use for the handball. It's like, listen, it's a harsh call, but once they got the technology, if that shit goes off, they're going to use the technology. I didn't even know they had that technology. There's no way they're not going to use the technology. Like, oh shit, you get to use this thing. All right, penalty.
It's been used in cricket for a while before. But yeah, they got it in football now, and it's, yeah, like I said, I think there's no denying that the ball hit the guy's hand. I just think the circumstances of where the arm was and the distance the ball is hit from should be taken into account. So yeah, a little bit harsh on Denmark, that one, but I thought Germany were the better team. So I think the result is just in the end. And Havertz, I mean, credit to him. You know, he wasn't missing with that penalty. Schmeichel's a good penalty goalkeeper as well, and he knew where it was going, but just the quality of the penalty meant that he wasn't going to save that. You know, that was really in the corner, and you know, Nagelsmann was showing as well. You know, Germany have been playing well, and Nagelsmann still made changes. And he explained them after the game as well, which was interesting. I thought, you know, this is something that Southgate's not doing, because he swapped in Leroy Sané for Florian Wirtz, and Florian Wirtz has been, you know, a good player for Germany. He's been an amazing player for Leverkusen this season. And Nagelsmann came out and said, we analysed the game against Switzerland, and we didn't have enough of a threat in behind. Wirtz is a good player, but he wants the ball to feet. We wanted Sané because he can make those runs from deep and trouble teams in behind. And that was why I made that change. And I was like, yeah, that makes sense. You know, you've analysed it. You've looked at what the flaws were in the last game, and you've made those changes. So yeah, I mean, that's what a manager should be doing. And then they just, obviously, once they got that goal, Germany just, you know, they took control, and Musiala, great finish. In that 1v1 chance. I love those finishes where a player comes in off the opposite side and just opens up and finishes into the far corner. That was beautiful. But he should be doing it in an England shirt, so that made me a little bit sad.
I know. Traitor. What a goddamn traitor.
Yeah. Ex-Southampton Academy kid. Jamal Musiala.
Damn.
Taught him everything he knows. No, he's
I'm gonna let Alex get in there because he's got to bounce. What? Any last things you want to say?
Yeah,
I
I know we're talking about Germany, but I know we're talking about Germany, but completely unrelated. But if you watched that game, the US game, Timothy Weah, in my opinion, should not play. It ban him for a year, make him learn his. I don't know if you saw the red card. He smacked some player from the other team. I think it was Panama on the head.
Panama.
Gets a red card on the 10 minutes. Your team's not gonna qualify because you have to beat Uruguay next, and they're good, so you have to beat Uruguay to advance.
Has Uruguay already advanced? Do they have 6 points?
They have 6 points, so there's a chance that Uruguay plays their bench and
Right, exactly.
but also with their bench. If they a draw doesn't work for the US, you have to go out there and win. But anyways, if you're a
draw is
professional
no
player,
good for
draw is
US?
not good because Panama, you have to basically win because you're on the impression that Panama is going to beat Bolivia. It's basically Panama or US is going to advance. So, in my opinion, if a player does that, he's immature. He should not be playing the national team. Make it an example, and don't call him for ban him for 6 months or something. You cannot have a player.
I think that's what the red card is for, to teach you a lesson. He's got a red card, so he's banned for 3 games anyway. Is he?
Yeah, he got banned. I mean, he's not going to play in the tournament, but it's just more like you let your teammates. How do you go back in the locker room and tell the guys, "Sorry, guys,
he already apologized. You don't accept his apology."
I am sorry. I wanted to smack the guy, and I thought we wasn't gonna watch Tia. I don't know. That really pissed me off because it's just like we're trying. It's just like the same as Mexico. It's just like we're trying to show people watching the Mexico and the US. We're like, okay, but it's just these people, man. These players, man. Like they're just keep letting me down, man. I might have to change to Jamaica or something. Just a different team. Canada.
Root for Jesse Marsh in Canada because they're through.
All right, guys.
To the next
Well,
round.
appreciate you guys. Right. I'll talk to you guys next time. All right.
All right. Thanks for joining, fam.
Hey, and remember, it's coming home.
I'm glad you believe. Glad someone believes. I hope so. Yeah. Yeah. I was just, I guess, on the Germany thing. There's a bunch of points I agree with you on, but I guess I want to give some people some props. Like I don't always believe in Havertz, and I don't necessarily believe that should be a penalty either. It was pretty harsh, but that took poise to put that penalty away. And so I got to give Havertz props for that. Like it's a very clutch moment, and I feel like even though eventually Havertz had a great season or a decent season for Arsenal, I don't think he's always been clutch, because I always think about, when does Havertz score goals? Does he score goals after the win has already been guaranteed, or does he set off the win? And this was a big tournament, major moment, and he set off the win with the penalty, whether it should have been a penalty or not. And then, man, that trade of Musiala, man, like, how dare you be so good and not play for England, like you were saying, man. It's just painful how good he is. Like, I'll never get over him and Haaland not being English. Even though he was born in Germany, though, like Musiala, right?
Yeah, I think he was born there, but came to the UK super young, because
Right.
he moved to Southampton, and he was in our academy very briefly for like a year. Then he was in Chelsea's academy for like 8 years. So yeah, born in Germany to a Nigerian British father and a German Polish mother. And then from the age of 7, moved to England, and then lived in England literally, how many years? 9 years before Bayern picked him up for the academy.
And that's where
pretty quickly into the first team.
Yeah, he was pretty quickly into the first team. Like, that's our Yamal. They took all Yamal, like straight up. Germany stole all Yamal. That's messed up. But yeah, like, and this Germany Spain game is Musiala meets up with, like, it's so funny. Like, you feel like Jude and Foden is a class of players to look for the future, but the class below them, like the Yamals, the the the, the Nick Williams, like that class is already showing up and like doing their thing. Like, and I guess they're kind of like the same class, but
Nico Williams, I think, is older than Bellingham.
oh yeah, he might be because he's been playing for.
I think he's 21. Yeah, Nico Williams is 21.
And Bellingham just turned 21, right?
He just turned 20, I think.
20. His birthday was today, I think.
Oh shit! There. Oh yeah. 10/21 today.
Yeah.
Yeah, Williams is slightly older than. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure if Musiala was English playing for England, Southgate would have beaten all the creativity out of him. So he'd just be another player looking lost on this team, not playing like they do of their club. So he's, actually, respect to him for picking Germany, because he'll probably be more likely to win a trophy there than he is for the England.
Hilarious. Trying to think where to go next. Spain, Germany, England, Switzerland is admittedly, to me, going to be tough. This is not a walk away because we're England and it's only Switzerland. I've seen how Switzerland plays. This is going to be a tough ass game. Like, they bring the energy, they bring the belief, they have great positioning, and we have got to bring all those things plus the talent that we have. And every game, just like you, I hope England would just click into this attacking positive belief system, and the thing that's holding them back will just disappear, and we'll see who these people really are. They'll come out of their talented closets and do their thing. But it's just, man, if they're going to have to do it in this game, or else they ain't getting past this team. So everybody, and that's why Southgate needs to use his substitutions earlier and use them as a form of training. Because when you threaten a player by being subbed, the next game he steps up. And those subs came in this game and they did their thing. So, hey man, don't be afraid to make halftime subs or 60-minute subs. Like, you're not losing anything. These guys, I thought Eze was going to take a minute to adjust. Immediately he was in. I was like, oh, okay. So now I believe in him going forward. I just thought, it's just such a big moment that even though he's a good player in the Premier League, he's comfortable in the Premier League. And this might be too big of a moment for him to really show who he really is. But immediately showed his strength and just was positive and was really good. He played left back for part of the game. And then I liked how Tony handled himself on the pitch, showing his strength and size, was good as a hold-up player, in moments that we needed it. So playing. Mainu was our best player, along with Rice, I feel like, in the first half. So, hey, man, just these guys won it, man. And Mainu's technically a sub. You didn't start him the first 3 games. So look at it. Like, go to your bench, fam. They're there. They all want it. They're not afraid.
I mean, the first 5 minutes of having Tony on the field, we scored as many goals in those 5 minutes as we scored in the entire tournament previously.
Oh, damn.
I know he didn't do too much on the long throw. He was in there. He takes up a marker. But then the second goal, the way he won his free kick, we're back to goal, just backing into that defender, being clever, buying the free kick, and then, keeping the ball alive after the free kick and putting that header into the dangerous area and getting the assist. Yeah, he's a handful. But yeah, Switzerland's going to be tough. I mean, I'm like looking at their team, and there's a lot of experience in that Switzerland team as well. They got some exciting sort of new players, but they got players that have done it at other tournaments for them as well. Like Xhaka. Xhaka's, he's a wily old character. He's been around the block. Ricardo Rodriguez feels like he's been in a million tournaments for them. These guys at the back. He's experienced Bundesliga like experience as well. Jan Sommer in goal is a good goalkeeper. Akanji, everyone's seen how good he is for City. Fabian Schär had a solid season for Newcastle. Freuler is a good midfielder. Vargas, that goal from Vargas was unreal. The second goal where he just bent it into that far corner. And just they got good players, in Bolo as well, and Doy. It's going to be definitely the hardest game so far, which worries me because we've not looked good at all. So yeah, Switzerland's a no rollover. It's going to be
I remember them beating France, the World Cup holders, in the last Euros. And so like I would never sleep on Switzerland. I would never sleep on Xhaka after what he did with Leverkusen this year and what he did with in his last few years at Arsenal before he left there. So he's a player, and he's a real captain. Like, and it's a crazy career he's had where, the day he lost, I was watching that game, the day he lost the armband at Arsenal and the fans were booing him off the pitch and he gestured back to them like, fuck you. And I was like, this guy's Arsenal career is over. But he came back from that and, look at him, I've seen him just be really good. And I respect him way more than I did 5 years ago, so, and they just do everything I would want England to do. And England can't do what I want them to do. So I'm afraid. Let's talk, I guess, a little bit of Copa America. Not I guess, but America, like you said, America's got Uruguay to play tomorrow. And I'm working while I'm here, so it's tough to watch both tournaments when I'm doing 12-hour days, So I haven't been able to cover this as much, but I do know we need to beat Uruguay. I know Uruguay has been one of the hot teams in the tournament. They have a lot of players that I see playing in Europe. I respect them. I should try to watch this game when I come home. I think I'll be home from work or just a little bit after this, because I do want to see USA play. I saw the Panama game, and we're just learning to be mature. This is a great tournament for the US. We ain't going to win it. I hate when the pundits, when we fail in a tournament like this, they act like we're one of the favorites to win. We don't stand a chance. Look who's in this tournament. So stop being so critical after every pitfall. Like, these pitfalls are here. We're in this tournament to learn, to trip up and learn from it so that we can be better in the CONCACAF and qualifying for the World Cup, and to be better in the World Cup, to get used to seeing these teams and then playing them in World Cup tournaments. So, this is just a training tournament for me. And I'm looking for Argentina, Brazil, and Uruguay to win this. Like, Mexico shouldn't even think they have the gall to win this. Like, for them to come into this tournament after not even winning the CONCACAF group last World Cup, for them to come in here and think, yeah, we're going to kill it in this tournament. Like, that's just gall. What do you think about Copa America so far?
I've only been sort of checking in on the highlights and bits and bobs because, comedy,
just
Euros. But no, I mean, I like that Canada are through. My adopted second nation. the Jesse Marsh era, as didn't get off to a great start by getting trounced in a friendly, but he's a manager who has a clear style of play, and knows how to coach that style of play. It may not be to everyone's liking, but it's got them out of the group. They beat Peru, and they drew with Chile, and Chile is a tough team to play against. So, the fact that they've gone through in second in that group over Chile and Peru, obviously behind Argentina, that's always going to happen. Then, that's a great credit on their part. And the first two teams in the knockout stage now. So we'll see how it goes in the other groups. Obviously, Venezuela are through already, despite they're still playing this game now. So we'll see. And then USA should really be. I don't know, man.
That's a tough one. The Uruguay, we don't know who they're going to start. They're already through, and they might.
Yeah, it's like Alex said, that red card killed them. Coming so early in the game, 17th minute, I think it was, the Timothy Ware red card. That's a game they should win normally, and that really messed them up. So like you say, they've got a hard task going up against Uruguay in that final game as well, because they got to do something. Because Panama are playing Bolivia, and Bolivia are just rolling over in this tournament, it seems. Bolivia only win games when they're playing at home in Bolivia at their ridiculous like high altitude, when players need oxygen on the side of the pitch from the other teams and are throwing up because of the altitude. You take them, you get Bolivia on sea level, then it's over. I'm surprised they didn't request to play all their games in Denver or something.
Hilarious.
So you
don't
get
no
Bolivia
stadiums in Denver. No, why don't you all play there? It's a good place.
But Bolivia at sea level, fucked. Nothing. They're doing nothing. So that's it'll be a big ask for the USA to scrape through, but they could still do it. But Bielsa's not going to be on the touchline as well. I don't know how much that will affect things for Uruguay, but he's banned for this game. So we'll see how that goes. And the big surprise in Group D, but Brazil are not top. Colombia are the ones with 6 points. But they've not played. They got to play each other on the final game. So Brazil obviously they drew 0-0 with Costa Rica, which was a horrible result. It's great result for Costa Rica, but obviously Brazil brushed Paraguay aside, drew with Costa Rica. Colombia have beaten both those teams, so definitely tells you that Brazil should have beaten Costa Rica. That'll be a fun game for the final game. Brazil need to win to come top. If they draw, they'll be through anyway. So we'll see how that goes. But I mean, at the moment, I like the Brazil squad, but I mean, you can't really look past Argentina. They breezed through that group, 3 wins out of 3. Right. Reigning World Cup champions. You gotta be respecting that at the moment in the Copa America.
Yeah, the only time I had to watch Copa America games is like the top team. So I've seen Argentina play, and I feel like they're playing better now than they did in the World Cup. Like Messi didn't even play the last game. Lautaro Martinez scored for them. And I just feel like energy-wise and their setup, it's just, they're balling. It's really good football, and they're in love with this tournament, and they're in love with the idea of winning it, and they're going all out. So they're really a good watch. For some reason, I felt like after the World Cup, there'd be a drop-off. I felt like they just won the Copa before they won the World Cup. So then this will be their time to be like, we can relax. Who cares if we lose? But that's not their attitude. They're really going for it. Like, it's rare when even the best team in a group gets all 9 points from the group, and they didn't even play Messi. Like hardly any, even in the Euros, the best teams ain't doing that, But so it's difficult to be the favorite in a group and get all 9 points and then not play your Messi card. So that's how dangerous they looking over there. And like Brazil didn't do it, and they should have. They got effective world-class Champions League winning players. But Mexico, Ecuador, halftime 0-0. Jamaica, Venezuela, 0-0 halftime. I'd like Jamaica to get something out of this tournament, you know? So we'll see. And then Panama, Bolivia tomorrow, USA versus Uruguay tomorrow. So I'll come home and I'll watch that. But yeah, it's been, I won't even just go any longer. I'll just get off and see if I can watch the Jamaica, Venezuela, Mexico, Ecuador combo platter game on the split screen and check those out. So yeah, what do you think of the Euro so far?
It's been a weird tournament. Like after the first round of fixtures, I was thinking, oh, this could be one of the best tournaments ever. Like there were loads of goals, people were scoring these bangers from outside outside the area, and then for the sort of round 2 and 3 of the group stage, things kind of got a little bit dull. Some cool games, but there were a lot of boring ones as well. But no, it's been a pretty good tournament so far overall because it's livened up a little bit in these knockout games, a little bit more jeopardy. So yeah, I wouldn't say it's the greatest tournament ever, but it's entertained me when I've not been watching England anyway.
I think England is causing you not to enjoy this tournament as much as you should have, because that even though Spain killed Georgia, Georgia was in this game for a minute, and
oh yeah,
Spain goals were just bangers. Even Spain's own, even Georgia's own goal was a classic. Because the build-up play on that and those guys dealing with the ball in tight spaces, being pressured by Spain and playing out of it and getting that ball into the Spanish half and making that cross. And that defender was so uncomfortable. He felt like Georgia's best player on his back. And it's like, it just made him do that error that got the ball in the back of the net. And then England, Slovakia, if you weren't English, you'd probably enjoy this game. The bicycle kick as time ran out in a game, a knockout game in a tournament, is ridiculous. And then Germany, Denmark, that was 2 teams that gave it all. And then Switzerland, Italy, like just Italy getting knocked out, like the shock of that. They're the reigning champions. And who the hell is Switzerland to walk on a pitch and treat them like that and disregard them? That's pretty amazing. But yeah, it's tough when, most of your time is like on England, how we're going to play. And it's tough to see other teams play better than us.
I've been having like one eye on club football as well during this time, because like the transfers are starting to happen.
Yeah.
The first new shirt for Southampton is coming out tomorrow.
Oh, word?
So by the time this podcast is out there, this new shirt will be out there. We got Puma as well. We got Puma now. So
oh shit, I'm jealous.
I'm interested to see what they come up with. Apparently we're going, because we've had a few seasons where we've not, like last season we had the classic Hummel design that they used on like our kit in the 80s and on the Denmark kit, with like the really thin stripes. And the year before that we had a sort of Ajax style shirt. So there's rumors we're going back to something like that with the thick traditional stripes. So that'll be dropping. But yeah, there's transfers already happening around the league. Ian Maatsen gone from Chelsea to Villa. Douglas Luiz went from Villa to Juve today. There's a player I'm interested to see who just went from Newcastle to Brighton, even though he didn't play for Newcastle. He was at Feyenoord, Yankuba Minte.
What's his position? I heard about his transfer.
He's like an exciting like winger.
Anything on the left
midfielder. Yeah, he got 10 goals and 6 assists last year for Feyenoord. In like 20-something games. So he's an exciting young player. So yeah, things are starting to move already. A lot of transfer rumors of Saints as well. So I'm intrigued to see who we buy. So I've already got one eye on club football as well, enjoying the Euros. But yeah, I'm starting to get excited for the return of the Premier League now that we're back in it as well.
United hasn't done much, but I like what they haven't done. Like it's such. There's two players I didn't want United to have any dealings with, and we traditionally would make the mistake of buying these players and just destroying our budget, and we didn't do it. Like the Olisi one, I'm just, hey man, go to Bayern, have fun. I don't want you at that price. Plus, we have them on. So I was relieved. So I celebrated us not buying these guys like we bought players. And then the other one is Braithwaite. Like, I'm not, no way we should pay that to Everton. Like, if you're going to spend that money, spend it on Guay, because he's showing me that he's a player in this tournament. Like, he's worth that money. You know what I mean? Like, he's got the strength and the speed, and he's only going to get better. So he belongs at United more than Braithwaite. I would never try to spend 70 mil on a Braithwaite. Like, I don't see it yet. He might have it, but I don't see it yet. So I'm celebrating like the players we didn't buy. And I feel like we probably need to sell players more than we need to buy. You know?
Yeah. Apparently you're close to an agreement with Newcastle to finally do the Ashworth deal. So that might, if that goes through, that might speed up your transfer dealings a little bit, having him in there pulling the strings. But like you say, sometimes no business is good business, depending on what type of business it is. Another one which it hasn't been confirmed yet, but it's taken me a little bit by surprise, is Dewsbury Hall from Leicester to Chelsea for £30 million.
And again, how the hell is Chelsea still buying? And they're not just buying, it's always an attacker. It's the craziest thing to me. It's like, first of all, what about FFP and Chelsea? I guess it doesn't, that's one team it doesn't apply to. But also, why do you keep buying more attackers? And I know he played in the championship for Chelsea's new coach, but I don't think you need him. But Leicester got FFP problems.
Yeah. And Chelsea have made some money by selling like all these dodgy deals, getting these academy kids out for inflated fees. And they're sending one to Leicester for like 5 million, and that'll be pure profit. Whereas the Dewsbury Hall one, it's 30 million, but it'll be like broken down into installments that won't all count towards FFP this year. There's lots of sort of creative accounting going on around all these deals. So it'd be interesting. It should catch up to them one day, hopefully, if they, if these players join them, play badly, lose their value, and then they can't sell them for the same amount of money, and they're just, losing money on them. But we'll see. But I was surprised because, like I say, like you, I think he's a good player, but I don't know if he's what Chelsea had a pressing need for at this stage.
The last thing they needed was another winger.
Yeah. Or he can play he's more like a creative player in the middle who can also play as a wide player. So yeah, I don't really know what the deal is there, where he fits into this Chelsea team. So I guess we'll see. But yeah, like I say, transfer moves are happening. We're at that time of year.
Yeah, like United hasn't done anything big yet. We still have to deal with Sancho. We still got to sell Greenwood. I feel like we should sell Maguire and get a defender in. Like, I don't even care if we spend our whole transfer budget on Guehi. You know what I mean? Like I feel like he'd be a great buy for us. Like we do need a central defender, because we're gonna lose, or we already have lost, Varane, and Maguire's not getting any younger, and he's starting to get injured now. And he wasn't in favor like that before. So it's like, why even keep him? Let's get a price for him now while we can.
Mm.
And I'd keep Lindelof. And yeah, we still got that kid that's, played great in the Liverpool game. Bring him through and just, we probably need we haven't even pulled the trigger on the Moroccan dude, Amrabat. So are we going to do that, or are we going to get somebody else? Like, what's the deal? So we'll see. It's just all talk, but I'm glad all these people have been proposed. Like, we hands off. No, go ahead. Let Chelsea, Bayern, and all them other teams fight over those dudes.
But it's start of the season's going to come around quickly. I think it's only a month, maybe slightly less than a month until you see United versus Arsenal.
Yeah, on the 27th, and then a few days later, I haven't got the tickets for San Diego yet, but I don't see a reason why I ain't going to go see who is United playing in San Diego. So it's a La Liga team, but I'm going. Don't even matter. Yeah. So yeah, should be fun.
Yeah, it'll be here before you know it.
Yeah, for sure. Well, all right, fam. I got something to write for work in the morning, so I got to turn that in. I got to flip this pod around, but thanks for joining. Cheer up, man. We made it through. Thrilling bicycle kick. And I like what Jude said. I like that Jude said something that players aren't supposed to say about the fans getting on them, and they showed them, because I feel like we need to because we haven't been like aggressive as we should be on the field. We gotta need some outside. I feel like the players need to feel like it's us against them, even if it's the fans, to get them across the finishing line. So I don't know. Can you hear my neighbor? Yeah, I don't know what that is, y'all. Like, I'm in a banana situation where, so let me tell you what's going on. I've been here a week, and there's an apartment right across from me where the neighbor does not lock their door. So at first I was like, come on, like, you gotta lock your door, because I don't want something to happen to you and then I get blamed for it, the black guy that lives across the hallway. But then I was like, why is it always open? I go to work in the morning, it's open, and I come home in the evening and it's open. Like it's shut, but it's not locked. So I'm like, is somebody squatting there? But then the last few days, the woman that lives there has been like arguing in the hallway with nobody and slamming stuff. And she's doing that right now. So I'm doing great.
Oh.
Yeah. So that's what's up. But everybody, hope you all are good. Follow me on Instagram. I got some shows coming up, so check the dates there. I'm going to be at the La Jolla Comedy Store. I'm going to be at the Punchline in San Francisco. I'm going to be in Illinois, Batavia, and going to be in Denver. What is one more that I should remember that I'm going to be at? But Lee, you got anything coming up?
Yeah, a few bits. I just posted my my July shows up. I'll be all around the UK, various different places. Yeah.
All right, dope. But everybody, be good. Enjoy as much football as you can. Keep listening. I didn't really get into it with this guy, but he disagreed with our analysis on Foden. He thinks Foden should start. And so I don't know anything about football. He would never trust an American telling him anything about football. This was on YouTube. And I was like, I got news for you, mate. I'm British. So so you trying to disqualify me based on an accent doesn't hold up. Just like the facts that you're saying doesn't hold up.
I love it.
All right, so I don't want any more of this yelling across the hallway to be recorded. So let me just be out. All right. All right, one.